Oh,
Hey, Paul.
oh my.
Oh, yeah, I messed up a little bit. For some reason, I scheduled for 4:30, not 4:30, so I had to go live early. So we're live.
Throw me in the deep end, mate.
Sorry.
I've not even got my phone set up.
It's live. Oh, man. How you doing?
Not too bad. Hectic day, actually.
Hating the day?
Hectic.
Oh, hectic. All right.
Yeah. You know when you try and plan the whole day out and you end up losing so much time that you have to do everything in the last half hour.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, so just been rushing around getting my markers refilled just in case they run out.
Oh, right. You're a marker boy.
I am a marker boy. Yes.
Let me add some people or invite some people. A second. Okay, we got Sean Forney's on. Says hi. What's up, Sean?
Right. Hey, Sean.
Do you know who he is?
A little bit familiar with his work.
Okay. Yeah, he's a great guy. Some things. Okay, we're hitting everywhere. Okay, so your Facebook is Paul Hill Art, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And Paul J Hill _ art on Instagram.
That's correct. Yeah.
I'm just running it at the bottom of the stream. Just make sure I spell everything right. All right. Well, thanks for doing this. Thanks for fitting me into your hectic day.
That's not bad. We've only had it planned, what, week and a half?
No, longer than that. We tried to.
I know you've been trying to get me in a lot longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
Playing hard to get. What can I say?
Well, it's okay. Some things are worth waiting for, right?
I hope so.
So, as people hop into the chat, hopefully some more people come in. So, Paul Hill, sketch card artist and illustrator, cartoonist, all around nice guy.
Wow.
So you've been well, actually, first of all, what are you working on there?
I decided to do a Spider Carnage piece.
Spider Carnage. All right. And that's just for shits and giggles?
Yeah. Obviously, if anyone wants to buy it off me, once I've finished it, I'm open for offers.
Right on.
But yeah, I thought I'd do this for this stream.
Sounds good. Now I've watched your not your live stuff, but like your hyperlapse videos, and it looks like you work pretty fast. How long does it take you to do a piece?
Are you talking in between sorting family members and children and everything else out? Depends. Sketch card wise, I can colour a sketch card. It might take me an hour.
Okay.
Pencils and inks don't take me that long at all. Once I've got an idea in my head, I can get that down straight away. But I've never really timed myself, if I'm honest. So, some are easier to get through than others.
Yeah. Well, I guess that depends on what it is that you're working on, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So
okay. And you've been doing sketch cards for a while now, right? Like, what was your first set?
Yeah, I started. My first set was Marvel Premiere 2017.
Okay. It seems like almost everyone that I talk to
started on 2017 Premiere.
17 Premiere, yeah, and they got for the most part, they got recruited, if you will, just off Instagram.
Yeah, I don't know if I got seen on Instagram, but I know I was contacted through my Facebook page.
Okay.
That was how I was contacting it. It was because I noticed a lot of fellow artists had been announcing, "Oh, I'm working for Upper Deck," and I'm like, "What's that?" So I know about sketch cards, but not the official side of it.
Yeah.
Or how to get into it.
So did you actively seek them out, or?
Oh, what's the? How do I get into it? Next thing you know, I get contacted, and I'm like, right, take it on.
Do it.
Yeah.
So,
Not like me.
so Premiere 17 and what else? That you can talk about. Don't mention anything they're not allowed to talk about.
Oh god. Right. Okay. So started on Premiere 17. Then it was, believe it was Marvel Infinity War set. And Deadpool, Marvel 10th anniversary. Trying to think after that. I know I've done Spider-Man Far From Home. I've done a lot of the later movie sets. I think I missed the odd set here and there, but
Were you on Masterpieces 18?
no, I never got an invite to that.
Mm.
So a bit disappointed, but things happen, things change. You never know.
Yeah, it's. I don't think there's any rhyme or reason to the way they invite people to specific sets.
No, I think it's they've got to rotate their artists a little bit, haven't they?
Yeah,
They've got that many on books.
they're just kind of going through the list, I guess.
Yeah. So, I'm sure my time will come on Masterpieces or any other big name sets in future. You never know.
Did you do Premiere 19?
I didn't. They skipped me.
Yeah.
I think I was doing something else at the time, sketch card wise for them.
Oh, okay.
I can't think for the life of me what I was doing. I mean, I've done, besides Marvel sets for Upper Deck, I did some of the Goodwin Champion sets.
Okay.
So I tried my hand at some of them. Fairy Tales was one of them. So a little different from Capes and Cows.
Yeah, less men in tights.
Yeah. So
So you have a very defined style, right? Like it's on the, I'm gonna call it the cartoony side, and that's not a
that's not an
shot in
insult.
any way. Not an
No.
you never know. Some people take that as an offense, but more the cartoon style, but still very well defined. I mean, I know looking at conversations through forums and groups and stuff, you and Gordon Wills get confused sometimes.
Yeah, well, like the twin brothers that got separated at birth.
But I mean, I can tell you guys apart in a second. I can say what's a Paul Hill and what's a Gordon piece.
Oh yeah, there's good distinguishing difference between our styles, even though we've got similar influences.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, it was Gordon originally that got me into interested in sketch cards.
Okay.
I just happened to be looking through Instagram and found some of his old Batman animated sketch cards that he did.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that's where my style tends to originate from. So that spoke to me quite straight away. So started liking stuff, started following Gordon and chatting about all things Batman animated, and struck up a really good friendship. And we've kind of been when he joined Upper Deck for Premiere, I did the same thing, just a little bit later on.
Yeah, because he was brought on for 17 as well.
Yeah. We've been chasing each other on sketch card duty ever since. That's the best way I can describe it. Anyway, it's we do bounce a lot of great ideas. We become good friends, I like to say.
So, who's your influences? You said that you guys share a lot of the same.
So obviously, I mentioned Batman the Animated Series, so Bruce Timm.
Yeah.
That animated show. The Sean Galloway from who did the designs for Spectacular Spider-Man. Other than that, comic book influences have been Mark Bagley, John Romita Jr. Anything that's sort of like a simple, cartoony sort of style, I tend to lean a lot towards. When I first started drawing, I was more comic book, trying to follow the comic book artist sort of route. But I guess what happened there was I kind of got comfortable with the idea that, I'll never be a comic book artist with the heavy inks and the anatomy or anything like that. But I'm really good as a cartoonist with the slight exaggerations.
Yeah, sorry, there's Jalen Warner saying, sweet, it's Art of Gordon Wilson. He's going to troll you with this forever.
What you mean, he's not already?
Oh, if he hasn't already, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's cool.
So you're saying the heavy inks, dark line, like superhero anatomy wasn't your cup of tea, if you will?
Not really, no. I try and simplify it a little bit more than what a lot of other artists that are in that industry tend to do. But, like you say, I mean, it's cartoony art styles, not everyone's cup of tea, so I tend to I got comfortable and happy with just being labelled as a cartoonist, if you will.
Yeah. Sorry, I put the paintbrush in my mouth. Yeah. Trying to open a container of medium, and I needed both hands. So yeah, you were saying got labeled as a cartoonist?
Yeah. I've just embraced that labelling and gone with it. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's an art style at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely. It's not like I said before. I know some people take offense to being called cartoonist or having a cartoon-like style, but cartoonist is an honorable title, as Jalen is saying. It's nothing to kind of scoff at, right?
No, absolutely. I mean, there's plenty of great cartoonists out there that you can follow, and they've got a unique style all to themselves. And
I think it was Romita Jr. I was watching an interview with, and he refers to himself as a cartoonist.
All right.
I think it was him. I think it's on one of those Sci-Fi Channel YouTube channel things where they interview an artist as they draw something.
Pretty much like this, then.
Yeah, maybe with slightly higher viewership.
Should send Jay Warner out there and Sandwich Butt, just promoting us a bit more.
Yeah.
come join the crazy cartoonist.
So are you a collector as well?
What, sketch cards or just collect in
In
general?
general. In general, do you collect stuff?
I do collect stuff. I wouldn't say I'm a massive collector. I've got a collection of Batman animated figurines. I think that's my main passion at this point, because I do collect a lot of comic books as well.
And figurines, not action figures, right?
Yeah. Tomato, you know. I mean, I don't play with them. Let's put it that way. I'm not Gordon. I don't play with them. I actually do buy them for myself and not for the kids. They can have their own, but mine are safely behind a cabinet.
Oh, right on
display. So, you know.
Do you have that Magnola Batman statuette?
Oh, no, I've not got that one.
Grayscale one?
Yeah, I know which one you mean. I've been looking for the Sean Galloway one that he did quite some years back, but it's pretty much done and gone, I think.
Yeah, that's sold out fast.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not. I do like Magnola's stuff, but I'm not a massive fan of it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's not for everyone.
No, I mean, he has got his good side, and with what he can do with anatomy, and his designs of monsters are really interesting. In his idea of, even though it's a cartoony style, he's just really good with his shadow. Like heavy inks and what have you.
Robin Fuller on YouTube says, "Paul, you sound so British." I have a feeling that's a joke. Maybe.
I hope I do sound British.
And for that, you are British.
I am indeed. We've been to a few places around the world, but I've never picked up any different accents and not stayed long enough.
So, do you do art for a living? Professionally?
It's not my main. It's not my main thing. I work in advertising as a designer, so
just a creative field.
Yeah, still creative field. Yeah, to be fair, I've not really been drawing that long.
Oh, okay. Well, that was going to be my follow-up questions. It's like, are you classically trained?
No.
not in the traditional sense.
No, if my art teacher knew knew that I was drawing like this, I'd probably get a slap on the wrist. I used to in school all the time. You shouldn't be drawing in cartoony style. It's got to be this way, life drawing, and chalks and paints and Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I had to follow that just to get the right grade, but the minute I didn't have to, that was it.
So I don't know if how many of the streams you tuned in, but a lot of the times Brian Rust pops in and he watches with his daughter Scarlett.
Mm-hmm.
So she's watching now. So we generally say, "Hi, Scarlett."
Hi, Scarlett.
Being acknowledged. There's a couple of people that watch with their kids when they're on. So
yeah, I believe Robin Fuller's got her daughter on as well. Hey, Robin.
And Tommy, can't remember his last name. Usually when he watches with his kids. But I don't think he's on today.
I'm really reserved with the language, so it's all right.
Yeah, like I said, if I wouldn't have messed up the schedule, that I usually get on a couple of minutes earlier and just get all the silliness out of the system. But because I did mess up the schedule and went 10 minutes early, I got to get it out of my system by myself. There's a lot of
Yeah.
short
He was
words.
doing, yeah. While he was
I
doing
opened up,
that,
yeah, I open up StreamYard and it says going live in 14 seconds. I was like, what? Then I had some words that I messaged you.
yeah, I saw the messages and I'm like, oh my gosh. Got to, I mean, I was already using expletives, filling my markers up. And I'm like, I don't
Right.
really have to type here.
Well, the reason I like to use StreamYard, well, there's a couple of reasons, and like I'm not sitting here trying to promote StreamYard in any way. It's just it's been a really good service.
Mhm.
Is one, the way I do it is I host a meeting off my computer and
Yeah.
then join on the phone as a user, same way you would or anybody else that gets like that I want to invite. So then if anything happens with the phone connection, because I had cases where I forgot to plug the phone in and the battery died, the stream doesn't cut out. It's still running, it's just that one user drops out. That's one. And then the other one is that it lets you multicast to multiple channels. So that's why we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and as of this week, they let you do a third one. So trying Twitch again, but I have no idea how Twitch works. So I don't know if anyone ever is ever watching any of my posts on Twitch, but they're there now.
I was going to say, is there anyone in the group that actually uses Twitch or watches Twitch? It's not
There's
something
some
I've
people
never
that do.
tried.
I mean, that's a platform that I believe started off gaming,
Yeah.
and that's its core purpose for to watch people play, like walk through, play through videos or whatever. But especially because Jim Lee is such a big advocate of Twitch now, because he does all the stuff on Twitch now. He's got all his live streams and auctions and charity stuff and tutorials and whatever. I think that just opened that platform to artists as well. And it just evolves. But it might be for a younger generation. I don't know how old you are, but you have kids, so you're not 17. I guess it could be, but
No.
probably not.
I wish.
In spirit,
No.
right?
It definitely in spirit. Yes, I'm 1 year off 40.
Oh. I just hit 42 months ago, and my knees are starting to hurt.
My fiance, when she reached 30, says, that's it. Now comes all the aches and pains. So wait and see what 40 has for me.
Back pain.
Well, I hope not.
So Jalen Warner joined a little late, so he's asking again, are the UD cards the only sets you work on? What sets have you done? When did you start? You want to give him the penny tour?
Yeah, okay. So Upper Deck is one of my main contractors, I guess is the word. 2017 Premier is when I started. I've done more movie sets for Upper Deck Marvel than the masterpieces or premieres since then. I've done the Deadpool set from 2018, Infinity War, Endgame, 10th anniversary for the MCU, Spider-Man Far From Home. I've worked for Richard Parks on RR Parks cards, doing Ultraman. That was first set away from Upper Deck, and I did the Island Dreams charity set.
Okay.
So, and I guess I can say I've recently signed a contract with Cryptozoic as well.
Oh, right on. Are you working on any UD sets right now?
No, I've just finished one actually.
Oh, okay. I could probably guess which one that is,
Yeah,
but I'm not gonna say.
yeah, I'm going to say there's a few been running actually, aren't there?
Yeah, few of
Without
them
going
with
into
some
too many details.
yeah, a couple of them with some very weird design choices on the cardstock. Wow.
I can only imagine which ones you mean by that.
If you worked on them, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
lot of bright colors.
I know I had issues with one of the sets that I last worked on. More for the colours, positionings, the logos, what have you.
Yeah,
Without going into too much details, but once you see the cards finished, with the colours and the characters, as long as you put some kind of dynamic or interesting pose on them, you can usually get around the whole idea of the logos. But once once I started finishing a few of the cards, I started thinking, yeah, they actually look quite good once once finished off. So quite proud of the last set. And looking forward to it being released.
I kind of get lucky like that sometimes because I do everything in paint.
Yeah.
So every now and then I'll just cover the whole card in paint. So you don't see any more logos because they'll just drive me nuts. I try to work around them and kind of incorporate them or make that part of the design, but sometimes I just like, you know what, forget it. I'm going to cover the whole thing in paint. You can't see anything. I've done that on APs as well. We ended up covering the full AP, like the silver foil.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, some people care, some people don't. But
No, it can be tricky. Depends on where your design lands. Some card stock, like for markers, some of the card stocks I've used in the past, the markers have bled.
yeah,
I'm very good at layering my markers. That's how I get a lot of my effects, which is pretty much sort of like saturating the card a little bit.
yeah, but you go pretty thick with your layers, right?
Uh, Not always, but yeah, I can do that on odd occasion.
Well, to get that color depth,
Yeah.
like that. I don't remember where I saw you posted it. It was that I think it was a Far From Home AP where it's Mysterio and then Spider-Man's reflecting in his dome
Oh yeah.
or in his fishbowl.
Yeah.
Maybe it might have been on YouTube, but that seemed to have a lot of layers on most of it, not so much on the dome because obviously keeping it light. But
Mm-hmm.
imagine that might have had some bleed through to the back.
None, if I remember.
Mm.
What tends to happen is if you use with markers, if you use dark colours, like really strong, bold, dark colours, they're the ones that tend to bleed through. But if you use a lot of a lighter mix, they don't tend to bleed through as much, unless you're really, really going at it to get that blend.
Mm-hmm.
But the Spider-Man stock was really good actually. So I didn't get as much in the way of bleed through. Now I'll probably get a ton of people that's got my cards saying, "Hey, it's bled through the back of this."
But that's part of the charm of sketch cards. I would imagine is the fact that you can, like, you see. I mean, it's not a printed piece, right? You see the color on the edges and the bleed through and whatnot.
Uh, I like to think, everyone comments whenever I do sketch cards, whether it's the pencils, the inks, the colours. Always, it's either very bright, striking colours that I use, or the inks are very clean, quite thick in a sort of the animated or animation sort of styling or cell animation.
Yeah, the hard edges. Well, not hard edges. Defined edges.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Don't know if I go a little bit away from it when I'm doing the colouring, because I tend to do it more of like even though it's markers, I think someone's actually commented and said, do I use acrylics? Might have been you. The idea of it, because it looks almost like a painty style. The
Yeah, and
piece.
that's why I said it looks like you lay down a lot of layers of marker.
Mm-hmm.
Get that depth, which kind of looks more like paint. Which is a good thing, right?
Yeah, it is a good thing. I think I started experimenting with my colours when I was doing the Deadpool set, actually. Found a artist on Instagram called Dan Hip. He's done the Teen Titans Go cartoon.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and even though he's worked on it, his style is slightly different from that cartoon. Though he has got some of his own artwork influences in the show itself, if you ever watch it. But he uses really extreme colours when he's colouring his pieces. For the life of me, I don't know if he uses digital or if it's markers or even pencil crayon. It's an odd one to try and figure out at times.
Just ask him.
But the main reason, the take home for me was, he's using bright reds and bright yellows, really extreme colours. They're not subtle. And that was the main reason why I started looking at his work and thinking, I wonder what would happen if I mixed those colours together. And all of a sudden I've got these really vibrant pieces. But you don't know what the result's going to be unless you try.
Yeah, you got to give it a shot. Some things work, some things don't.
Exactly.
It's like this thing that I'm working on here that I'm just
Galactus.
Yeah, Galactus and the Surfer too. But I've never painted on Masonite.
All right.
And I started this last summer at some point. I did the pencils and started doing a little bit of the blacks.
Mm-hmm.
And I really should have just gave up and gessoed it and started over, but I really want to understand what I'm doing wrong. Right, so
where did you pick that up from? Was it an artist that you follow, or you just wanted to try the material?
I was at Michael's and I walked through Michael's. I don't know if you have, it's a craft and arts supply store. I
We
went to
don't,
pick up,
but
like Hobby Lobby or whatever, one of those chains.
yeah.
So I was at Michael's and I ended up in their clearance aisle and they had Masonite boards for 50 cents. So I said, hey, you know what? I've never tried Masonite. Let's see what the big deal is. Because they're usually like $15, I think. So it never really appealed to me to try it, but I'm like, oh, not for 50 cents. I could try this.
Yeah,
can't.
it's all about trial and error, isn't it? At the end of the day, what works for you, and you never know what results you get. You know,
Yeah, and then
people might lean towards.
Sorry.
I'm just saying, people might lean towards, that sort of style that you've been doing.
Yeah.
And it gives you something to look towards, I suppose, for future projects.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think I'll probably ever do a masonite or like
Just being
this, or
stubborn.
well, no, just based on the hard time that I'm having with this. But I think because I've seen quite a few artists paint a masonite, but they gesso it themselves, so you still get that gesso texture. This is a very smooth, like almost not synthetic, but like commercial gesso. So nothing sticks to it. And I like to use a lot of water, a lot of medium. And it's just like, I don't know if you can see my screen, but like if I do a stroke, it's like painting on wax and I'll just go right off.
So how do you get it to stick, or is that what you're still trying to figure out?
That's what I'm still trying to figure out. So then now instead of using water, I'm trying to use glazing medium, which has a tack to it, which is sort of working, but I need to do a. Yeah, it's not really sticking the way it would on paper. Robin Fuller says, "Howdy from Serenity and I." Howdy, Robin. Howdy, Serenity.
Hey, Robin. Hey, Serenity. Of a mum and daughter team.
And Robin says she watches artists on Twitch. So some people use them. Some people watch Twitch. Well, obviously they do because otherwise it wouldn't be around. So are you currently open for commissions? Are you taking requests?
I take requests. I've got a bit of a list gathering at the minute, but I'm always willing to take new requests under the understanding that obviously people are joining a bit of a queue.
Yeah, it won't be tomorrow.
No. Whenever we get new contracted sets come in, everything gets put on hold a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Luckily, I've got a client base that actually understands that. I've got a few pieces that I need to be working on.
And do you have APs available, or that's all gone?
I've got a few left out of the stock that I've got at the minute. I believe I've got 2 endgame APs left. Otherwise, it's the fairy tale set from the Goodwins Champions stuff.
Mm-hmm.
As you can imagine, the Marvel stuff goes pretty quick.
Yeah.
And
higher demand for those things, right?
Sorry?
There's a higher demand for the Marvel pieces versus fables or fairy tales or any of those.
Definitely higher demand than the fairy tales ones. I don't really tend to push those. In fact, I haven't really been pushing the Marvel ones. People have been getting in touch with me, and it's been a case of, what you got? What's your prices? Can you do me this?
Right.
So I've not really had to push much at all recently. It's been kind of good, kind of crazy at the same time. Just because I'm not used to it.
All right. Yeah, so you mentioned the line work. I know people comment on your lines.
Yep.
You have really, really solid, like confident lines. I'm just watching you ink the hand there.
You're saying that, I'm sweating buckets here trying to do this without making a mistake. I'm very aware that I'm live doing this. See, what I tend to do, what I tend to do is I tend to layer my line work as well. It's something that I got told by a tattooist, of all things. And also I learned that a lot of cartoonists do that as well, especially with like retro cartoons. You know, that sort of styling.
So what does that mean?
It basically means like, you know, when you see a comic strip that's just black and white and you see the heavy lines, you know, it's not usually a single thin line. You know, like what I've got on my screen at the minute, it's just a single thin line. I'm just using an extra small thin nib, you know, with a Faber-Castell pit pen. But as I'm building up like the line weight, that'll depend on where the light hits the figure and where the shadows land. So, like where the shadows are, the lines would be a little bit thicker.
Okay, so you do multiple strokes to thicken it. You don't press harder on the nib.
Yeah. That's probably the thickest I go, which is brush nib. I'll just take it out. So.
Okay.
I mean, that's probably why my videos for inking probably take a bit longer than they should. So you'll see me go over once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times.
Well, brush my mouth again. It works, right? And it's a good result. The final product looks good, so doesn't matter that it takes long, right? Or longer.
Oh no, absolutely. I like for me, it just brings the figure out a lot stronger than. So the backgrounds would probably not use as thick a line weight. Yeah, so that then when you're looking at the figure, he's sort of like they're jumping out of the panel rather than, you know, being part of the same image.
Right.
Or at least that's how I see it.
Do you know who James Reyes is?
Doesn't ring a bell, no.
Box office artist on YouTube?
No, I'm still new to YouTube, so I've not really gone through it.
No worries. He did some comment. He does a lot of Transformer stuff, or he used to do a lot of Transformer stuff. I'm not sure what he does now. But he has kind of a hybrid cartoony / comic book style, where he'll have all great likeness to, I mean, box office artist. So most of the stuff that he does is like movie based. But he has a very interesting way of inking, and he explained a couple of times in some of his videos how he approaches the thick and thin.
Right.
Can't remember it offhand because I don't ink often enough, but it's interesting because he's one of the guys that will do like the thick outline around the main piece, but then also go thick on certain components within the composition to give that depth. Same way as you do. I think he has a slightly different approach as to how he's defining things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting.
Oh no, it's an interesting way of doing it. I mentioned earlier, retro cartooning tends to use a lot of thick lines to sort of make their characters stand out. Usually get a lot of thick outlines for the character. It doesn't matter where the light or shadow tends to be. They just tends to be one thick line, and then any inner detail of the character will be quite a thinner weight, whether it's a jacket, a button, or like that. So there is different ways of doing it.
Oh yeah, and there's different approaches for different effects. So Jalen wants to know if you've ever tried using brushes for inking.
No, don't like brushes. Sorry.
There, you've been told.
No, I said it before. My art teacher tried to get me to. In fact, I was doing like my A-level degree in art. Be like early college, I guess, for you guys. And she told me I weren't allowed to use anything other than paintbrush for the duration of the course.
Oh.
Which, I rose to the challenge. I did what I wanted. Well, I did what was expected of me, but didn't really enjoy it.
So that was the end of your brushwork?
I've tried picking it up on odd occasion, but I just don't have the same love for it as I do with markers. When I was at university as learning to be a designer, I used a lot of pro markers in my design work.
Yeah.
It were an easy way to sort of like sketch out your ideas and make them look presentable. So I learnt to use pro markers then, and I think I went to a Comic-Con about 2014, I think, and I got talking to a British indie artist there. And I was looking at what he was doing commission-wise, and he was using Copic markers, and wow, that's kind of the same sort of stuff I used to do at university. Well, why don't I pick that up again and start relearning how to do drawing using them? And here I am, 6 years later,
Doing Spider-Man.
doing Spider-Man with markers.
About Spider-Man, you're involved in that Webhead Wednesday thing.
Yeah, it's something I decided to do to keep developing my digital skills, but I wanted to try and get as many artists involved as possible.
Oh, so that's your brainchild?
The idea of doing the art posts every Wednesday is, yes. The hashtag was something a podcast started using, or tried to use that hashtag, and I basically adopted the hashtag for that purpose. I don't know if you've seen some of the posts I have actually tags in the podcast, because I'm doing the Webhead Wednesday. Although you can do any Spider-Man drawing, or if you've got an artist that you like, you can post that. You know what I mean? It's not about just being an artist. If you're a fan of Spider-Man, post your favourite piece of art by your favourite artist. My reasoning for doing it was, like I said, to get other artists involved, and it was just to keep my digital skills, because I wanted to keep doing that, and I wanted a reason to do it, an excuse to keep doing it and keep driving that forward.
Right.
Doing sketch cards, I'm always doing traditional work, which is great, not a problem with that, but got to learn new skills somewhere. So it kind of forces my hand. I've got something I can do, so get on with it and do it.
Yeah, I think I took part. Well, not took part. I tagged.
The Green Goblin, weren't it?
Yeah, because it just happened that I actually finished it on a Wednesday, or I was going to post it on a Wednesday. I was like, hey, I can actually partake this time.
Yeah, I said it to one of the other guys that did a piece for me. He's been doing 3 weeks on Instagram. I said to him, it doesn't matter if it's an unfinished piece. It can be a Spider-Man piece. It can be black and white. It can be anything. Just just post it,
Spider-Man
tag it
theme.
in. Yeah, just a Spider-Man theme. I always said if you tag me into it, I'll put the hashtag. I'll do my best to put you in my stories. So it's a bit of a shout out for any artist as well.
Yeah, and I know Jason Montoya. He's like been on it every.
He really loves it.
Yeah, he's like gone ho on that. Um, and some of the, I mean, I think I follow a lot of the people that partake in it. It just kind of seems to be a very tight knit community. That once you start discovering a couple of sketch card artists, you kind of find the rest of them.
Yeah, I know as soon as people start promoting sets that they've done, it's like, oh, it's a fellow sketch card artist there. I'll click the follow button pretty much straight away, and I can see what they're doing, and they can. Well, most of the time they tend to follow you back as well. We've become quite a bit of a small community. It's always interesting to bounce ideas off each other.
Yeah, it's the entire like the sketch card community and even the collector community. I don't know how active you are within the Marvel card collectors group or the masterpieces group. Just such a nice group of people for the most part. And same thing with the sketch card groups. That like I know some of the groups that I'm in, you're in as well.
Yeah.
And there's always drama, but you can't avoid that. But just everybody's so nice and supportive and encouraging.
Yeah, no, that's true. I've made some good friends out of the sketch card, the Marvel collectors group especially, being really kind and welcoming in that regards. And
yeah, and then he and Norin are just so great. Have you done an intro for their podcast?
I have, yeah. I think mine was around February. I can't remember what episode it was now. So now I was laughing at Ian's description of one of my social media bios.
Okay.
I think he fumbled as well on the whole cartoony sort of style of my artwork as well, which was quite amusing at the time.
So I'm pretty sure, my very first sketch card is yours or from you, or like the very first sketch card I got, because I'm not a collector, but it's kind of hard to avoid the temptation sometimes. So I bought a couple of packs of something and I don't know what anything is. So then somebody wanted to trade and I said, no, I don't want to trade for that. Let me see some sketch cards. And they had your Thanos. Was it Thanos?
I believe it was. I've done quite a few of him in a lot of the sets. So I try. One of the last set I did, I actually put a call out in one of the groups and said, "Is there a character request that people want me to do?" And someone said Thanos, and I just thought, "No, I can't. I just can't do any more Thanos." Nothing against the character, but after a while, I need some fresh blood. I had a little bit of a joke with him about it, and I've done quite a few versions of him. I think the last one was Endgame, actually.
Yeah, I just brought up on my screen. The one I have is the 10th anniversary Thanos, the one that I think you said he's hungry for Doritos.
Yeah.
in our conversation. So I was very very tickled to get it.
Yeah, I've got him a few times for commission requests as well, sketch cards. So yeah, he's not a bad character to draw. I love drawing the jawline and the head, but because he's such a big character, very akin to like build of the Hulk, at least in
Yeah.
my head anyway. Trying to fit something like that on a sketch card, so many different ways.
So
Can be a bit tricky at times, trying to come up with something new.
yeah, I can only do so many busts.
Yeah,
Well,
I think there's only yours that he's not wearing the glove, if I'm right.
now you just see a couple of blue fingers.
Yeah, so he's not wearing the glove on that one.
Well, it was before Endgame.
There you go.
It all makes sense. So, is there a character that you or what's your go-to character if you have to bang out a card last minute?
Oh, tough one. It's a toss-up between Captain America or Hulk.
And why is that?
Hulk's,
You just
well, and with Hulk, he's such an easy character. There's no costume really. He's just blocks, shoulders, chest muscles, ripped trousers, unkept hair. There's not a massive deal to him, so he's quite an easy one to block out.
Mm-hmm.
With his shapes before you start defining the character. Captain America was a bit surprised actually. I enjoy drawing him as much as I do because he's not, or he wasn't. He didn't used to be. Sorry, I'll say that again. He didn't used to be a go-to character for me. I weren't that interested in him or his rogues gallery or anything like that. But recent years, after drawing him for so long, I've kind of enjoy sort of like it becomes almost like a challenge with the colours as well. Everyone thinks red, white, and blue. I had a word with the fellow sketch card artist other week about it, and I said I don't put much blue in Captain America. I start off with green.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, well, if you've seen any of my colouring videos, I usually start with like a yellow base coat or colour, and then sort of like build the layers up from that.
Oh, so you do like a yellow underpainting. Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I just see it as, well, I can go like a light blue, which usually goes sort of like a greeny colour. But then I think about the extremes and go for like a bluey green. So it's almost like, well, military colours, but still you're looking at the... and then I'll build up to the blue, with shadows and layering. So sometimes the green's almost lost there, but...
Oh, sorry, I totally missed Haro's on YouTube. I was looking at the wrong screen. Yes, hello. He
Who's
says
that,
he had
sorry?
no idea you had a British accent.
Who's this?
Haro? Harold?
Oh, Harold.
Yeah.
I've only just been talking to him today, so they weren't UK.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just going through the comments. Yeah, he said he drew a Thanos card with 3 fingers on one hand. Didn't even notice. Well, I'm sure somebody's going to point it out now.
That'd be a rare find if someone picks it.
Yeah. Yeah, Haro also says that the Hulk is easier to draw for him. At the same time, Jalen says Hulk is very hard for him to draw for some reason.
See, that's interesting. I'd love to
Yeah,
know why.
I have a hard time with the Hulk too. and I
Really?
don't know. Yeah, I don't know why. And not so much with the body. I can do a big muscle bound person. Is just the head. Is like the way I draw, I try to keep more of a realistic proportions. Try to make it more believable, and
Mm.
you can't. Like if you do a giant body with a normal sized head, it looks like a peanut, right? So like I have a hard time with it. Um, but on that note, so that's your go-to. Who do you not hate? Because nobody really hates to draw any specific character, but when somebody asks you to draw, hey, can you do me an AP of this so and so, and it makes you cringe.
I've not had that yet.
Squirrel Girl?
I'm sure I'll get Squirrel Girl. I've never drawn her.
Yeah. Okay.
See, any character that I've never drawn, I tend to have a bit of time to try and study how I would draw them. That is what I tend to do. I think the biggest thing I hate is trying to put too much detail, especially on sketch cards. But then sometimes certain characters do require it. At least in my head, anyway. Like, I'll give you an example. Most sketch cards with Spider-Man, I'd try and keep them where he's sort of like got a cityscape behind him as much as possible. And it's not always possible, but he just keeps that kind of, because he's got that kind of dynamic. Unless you're doing a really really close-up version of him.
Yeah.
But to me, although close-ups are good, if you do too close, then you kind of lose the appeal of what that character is, with the whole gymnastics and, the flailing arms and legs.
I mean, it works with some characters, but not Spider-Man. If you just kind of see his eyes and some webbing, it kind of loses it, right?
Yeah. I had a commission for a crystal a while back. I posted it since. It's on social media. And that was the first time I'd drawn her.
That's from Inhuman. She's got a yellow band in her hair. That's the one?
Yeah, that's the one. Well, she wears a yellow leotard. There's not much to her costume or like trying to get her powers in. So it was a case of, right, how do you make this character look like the character? Because I could have easily drawn, slight upper body head. And that's not, even to me, is I was doing it as a commission. That does not sound interesting to me. The person who wants it will not be interested either.
Right.
So I had to think of a way to try and get as much of her body in as I could. And if I could get the hands with the abilities activated, then again, bonus.
Oh, and she's got like fire and ice, right? Or something like that?
Yeah, elemental abilities, yeah.
Right, okay. I remember.
Yeah, Gordon was the one that kind of, he does it where he does a lot of his characters from the corner. He doesn't tend to do them top to bottom. If you ever see some of his sketch card work. So he might do them from one corner to the next, so they're at an angle as they come into the card. Yeah. So that's like, well, that's totally different idea of how you can angle your cards, and it's very similar to the 60s Batman TV series. You know how they used to have the floors at an angle to show crooked villains.
Yeah, or drunken camera work.
Yeah. So yeah, I've picked up a few tricks. How's it going with Galactus? Low and steady?
I got maybe 30 hours to go. So I mean, see, I don't know if you can see my screen, but So I did the base on the skin tone with glazing medium, so it's starting to dry and it's good. But I did the purple wash here just with water, and now I'm trying to go in and get it stronger. But
The
you see, I'm
water's washing
setting
it
water,
away. Yeah.
which is very, very strange for acrylic. Like I can actually wash off what I did, which is telling me that it's not sticking. So, I mean, it makes for a really cool effect, but I do highlights, but just rubbing out the paint. Like this is unreal. I have some choice words for this one. And I was having the same challenge when I was trying to do the blacks. And I'm sure they'll scrape right off. Yeah. So
is the black's acrylic as well?
yeah, it's all well, it's just a pencil, and then it's just black acrylic on top. I did some edging with this pilot Japanese thing that actually Gordon told me about. So it's pretty good. And I'm trying to remember which edge I did. Let's see if that's scraping up. Yeah, that's also scraping up. So it's definitely the treatment on the board. So I'm not sure what's the best.
Is that the same on both sides then? I wonder.
Well,
The treatment, sorry. Yeah, the
yeah,
back
well,
is...
it's masonite, right? So the back is
so yeah.
this wood. So I could keep on struggling with this, but I think I'm just gonna need to get some clear gesso and do a coat, or just try just putting a layer of gloss medium. That's gonna take like 3 days to dry, but gotta, like you said earlier, you gotta try stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, if I ruin it, I ruin it. Right?
Yeah, but at least you've learned something from it.
Yeah, just burn the masonite, burn it all.
So, have you always worked in acrylic?
No, this is actually a newer thing for me. And the reason I'm doing everything in acrylic, I'm really liking the effect, and I want to get better at it. So, like the first set I did, which is Premiere 17, was watercolor and ink, and it was very soft washes. Didn't really know how to handle, like how to approach doing 50 cards or whatever I had to do in such a short period of time. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do pencils, do black outlines, and then throw some watercolors on it. And that was okay. I don't love every single card I put out for that set. And then
who does, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can't love all your children the same. Something.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. So yeah, so for Premiere, I was trying to find, okay, what's the fastest way I can put out a card? And I was watercolor with ink with very loose pencils, and they're okay, but I don't love them. And then I can't remember what the next set was. But by Masterpieces 18, I think Black Panther was after that. By Masterpieces 18, I started dabbling with acrylic, and I was trying to use them like watercolors, which is not a good idea, because acrylic dries a lot lighter than when it's wet. So
and it can, depending on how much you apply, it can dry really quick as well.
Yeah, I mean, well, so, acrylic period, like just dries really quick as a whole, but it'll just dry a lot lighter than what it looks like when it's wet. So trying to use it as watercolor did not really work. Really watered down washes. So then it's kind of trying to find what's the best combination ever since. And I think I'm there, but it depends on the medium, on the surface. As I'm learning with masonite that you can't water this down. So see how this works once the gloss layers dry in like 3 days, because gloss medium takes forever to dry for some reason. I want to try oils when I have time, but I just don't have the time right now. I don't know how that would work for doing cards. So maybe not for cards, but for Charles trying to get into doing sketch covers, which is same idea as a sketch card, but bigger and no approvals and bigger. And you can, there's such a selection of blank sketch covers you can get from any property that you can really build, or seemingly you can really build a portfolio with variety of characters and styles.
Yeah, how did you find drawing sketch cards on your first set? Did you do them beforehand, or was it like trial by fire when you got your first set?
What do you mean?
When I did my first set, Premiere 17, I'd never touched a sketch card. I'd never drawn that size or anything.
Oh, yeah, right, I get it. So I got introduced to sketch cards like, I don't know, earlier that year.
Yeah.
The whole idea of sketch cards. So then I started posting drawings at that size and kind of working at that size. So I had already done a few, but the way I was doing them then is I would do a sketch slightly bigger, then scan it, and then shrink it down to 2.5 by 3.5, and carbon transfer it to the sketch card. And that just like, okay, that is way too much work, right? Especially for these inserts. I still do that with APs. I like to, unless somebody specifically says they don't want to see the process, I like to do a comp for APs. So I can't show the card, but like here's a comp for a sketch card, and here's another one. So they're like 5 by 7 size, and then I'll take these into Photoshop, scale them down to 3.5, and then carbon transfer those to the card. And then two things. One, I get to keep the original sketch so I can reproduce it, but also it's easier to work out the design and the detail at this size than trying to figure it out all on the sketch card size. Now, for actual inserts that go on a set, I'll, for the most part, just sketch it right on the card and go to paint.
Yeah, it's very rare I do any preliminary stuff for actual sets I work on. There's just not enough time to sort of like do that, unfortunately. In most cases, for doing APs, I started doing that where I will draw out the size of the sketch card itself and try and get the figure to fit that size.
Oh, like actually at 2.5 by 3.5 inches?
Yeah. I'll measure it up. I'll get like basically it's the same size as this sheet of paper I'm working on at the minute, and I'll just do sort of like a grid, multiple card sizes on one sheet, and I'll just break it up and just sort of like sketch a character in different poses on each card. And what I've been doing is then I'll send it to client just to get an idea what they like.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you give them the idea and
then take it forward from there, and then I'll apply it to the actual card.
Oh, Gordon Will's in the house. What's up, Gordon?
You've gone quiet.
Sorry. I was just reading the comments.
No, I said he's gone quiet.
It says you guys need to show me how to do that carbon transfer thing. Well, that's easy, dude. I'll let this dry for a minute.
We need a whole process video on it.
Yeah, it takes 5 seconds. So,
Wow.
well, no, not. Let me grab a sheet of paper. Or whatever. It doesn't need to be a real sheet of paper. So, carbon transfer is you have a drawing. Can you see? So you do your sketch. Whatever it is, I'm just gonna do this really quick.
Normal HB pencil?
Well, I'm just sketching something in a blue pencil at this point.
Right, okay.
Because this is going to be the original drawing. Yeah, whatever. So you have your original drawing. Then you either take the original drawing or you photocopy it or... oh, did we lose you? No.
No, I'm
wow,
still
you're doing really, really fine lines. Yeah, so then you take your original drawing or a photocopy or, take it into Photoshop, print it out smaller. Take your paper, your printout, you flip it over, you grab a pencil, you cover the back in carbon. Then you take your sketch card, in this case, my other piece of paper, you hold it over and with a pen or pencil or whatever you like to use. In this case, I'm going to grab a pen. You go over the lines that you want to transfer. So it's like reverse tracing. And then that's what you end up with.
Very cool. Learning something new.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, it's all new to me.
So hang on, let me show you the entire. Well, I already shipped out the card, but I recently did this guy. Does an Iceman, so that's like 4x5. So that was the original pencil drawing.
Yeah.
Scanned it into Photoshop, scaled it down, printed it. So there's the printed 3.5 by 2.5 that I covered in pencil, and then this was transferred over to the actual MM18 blank, and then paint and redraw it there. But the beauty of it is I get to keep all the prelims, right? So if I ever want to do another one or blow it up, put it on a sketch cover or anything, I have them. So I actually have a stack that Michael Monshaw was making fun of me of all my comps for sketch cards that were APs. Okay. Right, here's the carbon transfer from another one that I sent out the sketch. Oh, here's another perfect example. I did this guy on a live stream. It was a blob like pencil render. Yeah. It wasn't meant to be a card, but then somebody wanted a blob AP based on this. So yeah, took it to Photoshop, scaled it, actually made it work as a landscape as a sketch card, and then that's the printed version that you can still see the pen lines from the carbon transfer to the card. Now, one thing that I'm sure you've seen on Instagram and YouTube and whatever, these guys that do the hyper realistic like celebrity portraits and whatnot.
Yeah.
Some of them will use a grid method, but I will put money down on the fact that most of them will do a carbon transfer from a photograph, the base lines, and then just shade from there. There's nothing wrong with it. I just wish more people would admit that they do it. That's still drawing.
Yeah. I'll just give you an example of what I was on about. That's.
Oh yeah, but those are pretty tight pencils, right?
Yeah, they start off quite loose, but I tend to build on it with layers to get an idea of sort of like definition, because pencil doesn't always show up well on camera or film. So
right,
I do it as best I can. There's the Spider-Man in the reflection of Mysterio's helmet. So it was good for me to sort of sketch these out to sort of like get a feel of the size. And what
the one in the bottom right, you did that as well, right?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, just showed that one today, actually.
Yeah, okay. I thought it looked familiar.
There's the Nick Fury ones that recently did.
Yeah, okay.
And Vulture in the corner. Less we say about that.
So you do that, and then what do? You just redraw it freehand?
Yeah, I just redraw it freehand. I kind of, as a kid, I used to watch the cartoons. As a kid, I used to record them on my VCR, and I used to then replay the cartoons. I'd either watch them or I'd replay them, pause them at certain points, and then try and draw what was on the screen.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of got quite good at it. That's why my style's quite similar to Bruce Timm's Batman animated, in a way. It's how I sort of self-taught myself to draw in that way.
Cool. So for those watching that don't know what a VCR
is, video recorder.
Yeah, this is an old school. Yeah, an old device that looked like a DVD player, but thicker,
yeah.
That you put these giant cassettes in, and you could record them. Similar to a cassette that you would have in a older car stereo, but for video. Can't believe that I felt the need to explain what a VCR is.
Yeah, I forget how old I am sometimes. And how much technology's changed over time.
VHS or Betamax?
VHS.
Jalen wants to know. Yeah, Gordon said he's been doing the same thing. He's just redrawing from his sketches from a sketchbook, which I think he showed when he was on the stream.
Yeah, he does a lot of sketch dumps, doesn't he? He does a lot of preliminary sort of sketches for posers. Yeah, we've all got his own sort of way of doing it, but we all seem to, well, it works for each individual, doesn't it, in the end?
Yeah. There's no right or wrong way. It's just different.
Yeah. I mean, from commission side of it, it is nice to be able to slow down and be able to have a bit more thought process, and you can sort of like work out some of the issues you may not come across until you start putting pencil to paper as well.
Yeah. Well, it helps support. But I mean, the time plays a huge factor, right? Like I'm working on a set now. I got 35 parts to do in like 2.5 weeks. I just start drawing and then I go paint, and then if it looks like a bag of potatoes, it looks like a bag of potatoes. Move on to the next one. With an
No.
AP, then it's a different story.
Yeah. I'll go back to that. You see the middle top? It's got a cross in it.
Yeah.
So that was one that I just decided I didn't like the angles. I didn't like the anatomy of Spider-Man in the background. So I was just like, right, I'll dismiss that one. I think it was a reproduction of a sketch cover in a way as well. I just couldn't get it to work how I wanted it to work. So I dismissed it pretty much straight away. It's sometimes how it works.
Mm.
Just in case anyone watching saw that before and had questions on why there was a big cross in it.
Mm.
We can make
Gordon
mistakes.
says, Gordon says he does the pencil, then moves on to the next. He works in batches. Like he'll do a bunch of pencils, then inks, and colors. Yeah, and everybody's got their own way of doing it.
Yeah, when I first started, I was given advice from a fellow sketch card artist, and he said, try and get 10 cards done in 1 week. So pencils, inks, colours, 10 cards in pencil, 10 cards in inks, and then colour the 10 out. At least then you've got your 10, first 10 finished, rather than all pencils, then do all inks, and then do all colours. I've tried that in the past, where I've sort of like gone, right, well, I've done 10, I'll do another 10. And it sort of like gets a bit tedious when you're just doing constant colours. Sometimes it is better to break it up. It helps that bit of fatigue when you're trying to.
There's a psychological element to it as well.
Yeah.
Mm. But I've said on other streams, I just want to paint. Like I'm just in a hardcore paint mode now, so I just rush to get to paint as fast as possible. And that's another reason why I stopped doing like preliminary sketches that I transfer over or redraw on the inserts. Just like personally for me, seems to work most of the time. Is just do a rough sketch and then clean it up with paint after. Which doesn't apply with markers because it's not like you can go over and redo a hand half an hour from now if you don't like it.
No, it's a different ballgame. You can probably go. Is it Todd Knock? I've seen some of his videos where he's used markers, and he says sometimes it's better to do lighter colours because then you can, if you want to change it up, you can always go darker.
Which is same as watercolor, right? That you can always darken it, but you can't go lighter. But
no.
Hang on, on that point, something that I'm going to do sometime soon. Where is it? So here. So we put the camera back up. It was just the cards in the box that's holding up the camera because I have a really high-tech setup. So we back in. So I have this Vulture AP from Black Panther that I did. The thing that this is one of those points, like at the point where I started, hey, let me try acrylics. So I don't hate it, but I don't love it, and there hasn't really been a lot of interest in it. Because I mean, really, it's just doesn't really speak to. I guess to your point earlier, it doesn't really speak to the character.
Yeah.
Like besides the green thing and some feather stuff, you can't really tell it's sculpted. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna convert this to Magneto because I like the expression. But I'm gonna draw a helmet over, which I could probably do now, and paint over the whole thing. Can't draw with that. That's the advantage of the paints versus the markers or watercolors, is I can just take this and completely. I'm about to murder this vulture. Sorry.
Right.
Sorry. I'm going to apologize for Webhead Wednesday in advance.
Oh dear. Are we good on time?
Yeah, you tell me
To...
when you gotta go. I can do maybe another half hour before I gotta hit the road.
I may have to cut it short. I'm gonna
I
hang
mean,
on.
we've been on for a while, so like over an hour and a half. So you tell me when you gotta go.
Still there?
Yeah, here.
Right, it's okay. My phone battery's about to die on me.
Oh, okay.
Give me a
Right,
second.
so
I might be able to just get half an hour in.
I'll glaze
Technical
this.
difficulties, people.
Shoot. This might be more complicated than I thought.
Yeah. What's up?
So I got really fancy when I did this card and I varnished it, and now it's hard to see the pencil lines over.
Can I do this? I might have blocked myself a little bit of time.
Okay, so let me know when you gotta pull the cord. What time is it there now? Like 10:30?
5 to 11.
Oh, okay. It's past my bedtime.
Well, doing sketch cards has helped actually stay up quite late.
Well, you have little ones, right?
Yeah. Made sure they was in bed long before this started.
No, but like I'm sure it limits the amount of time you have during the day to do stuff. So you gotta work on stuff late at night.
Yeah. It's a good balance. I don't know about you, but if I'm not drawing, I'm usually thinking about what I can be drawing.
Yeah, I'm really. I mean, a good thing that came out of COVID, for me, anyways, is the fact that I did get to spend more time on my art. Like right when everything hit the fan here, something's really crackling. I don't know if I mean my end or yours.
It could be me because I've got the. I can hear it from my end. Before I had the headphones in, I can't have the charger and the headphones in.
Oh.
If you want, we can call it quits for today, and we can always pick up another time.
Yeah, up to you. Just like can't really hear you with the crackling.
Yeah. We can pick this up another time. I can continue this guy on another stream if you prefer.
Oh, up to you. I mean, whatever you want. You can finish this guy.
I don't mind. I've enjoyed it.
Whatever we need to do. Yeah, it's Victor. Thanks for taking the time. Thanks for joining in on this. It was fun. It was great chatting with you. If anyone wants to hit up Paul for some commissions, so many fees, Paul Hill Art on Facebook, Paul J Hill _art on Instagram. He's ready and willing, right?
Right.
That's about it. Thanks everyone for joining. Do you have any parting words of wisdom?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you have any parting words of wisdom?
Gosh. Put me on the spot. It's put me on the spot even. Just keep practicing if
It's
you're
okay
a
to
fellow
say no.
artist.
Right on. Okay. Well, excellent. Thanks again. Thanks everyone for joining in. I have some other artists lined up. Going to announce them as we confirm the times. If anyone's watching that ever wants to hop on a stream, drop me a message. Paul, hope to do this again.
Definitely.
And if you want to stick around for a second before I kill the stream, don't close your tab. That's it. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.